Hello art students, this is Mrs. Brand here. Today I'm going to show you how to create the file that we will use to make our photo buttons using Adobe Photoshop Elements. The first thing you'll need to do is go to Google Classroom and download the button template.psd file that I shared with you in the stream. In order to download this file, you will need to click on it and then select the More Actions from the top right corner. Say Open in a new window, and then click on the download button. Next, we will open Adobe Photoshop Elements. And then we will open the button template into Adobe Photoshop Elements. You can do this two ways. The first is by selecting File and Open and navigating to the file in your Downloads folder. Or the second is to drag the file from the bottom Downloads bar on your browser into the Adobe Photoshop Elements editor. Next, we will go back to our browser and look through our Google Photos albums to find the image that we want to use. When we see the image, you can click on it and then select More Options from the top right corner. Next, select Download. From here, we will open this file in Adobe Photoshop Elements Editor. We will need to resize this image to fit into our button template, but before we do that, we can make any adjustments that we want to the exposure of the image. I want to adjust the levels, so I'm going to go to Enhance, Adjust Lighting, and then select Levels, or do a Command L. After that adjustment, I still think that the left section is very bright. So I'm going to burn in that section after I select it with the rectangular marquee. In my burn tool, I will change the size of my brush to around 500. And then I will brush in this section as evenly as I can, noticing that I get more detail as I darken the area. I can deselect the area with Command D, and then now I'm ready to resize my image so that I can paste it into my button template file. I will go to Image, Resize, Image Size, and then on Document Size, I'm going to change the smallest measurement, which here is 45, to 2.75. I will then make sure to change the resolution to 300. Now I can Command A to select all, Command C to copy, and then select my button template and Command V to paste. Make sure your layers is selected at the bottom so that you can see the order in this template. Drag your image layer, layer 1, to the very bottom. Now you can see two circles on top of your image layer. From here, you can select the Move tool to move your photo to create the composition that you want to show on your button. Once you have created your composition, we need to remove the image that is in each of the corners. The first layer says Do Not Print. That represents the red ring that will show what will show on the front of your button. The second layer is your cut line for the photo. This is the black circle outside the red circle. With this layer selected, I will go to my magic wand, and then I will click inside each corner, holding down Shift to add additional corners to my selection. Next, I will select layer 1 and then hit delete. Now I should have a round version of the photo that I want to use for my button. I can Command D to deselect the corners. Now that we have cropped our image into a circle, we are ready to add our Instagram handle to this image using the Type tool from our toolbar. When you select the Type tool, you will notice that you have a choice of many different fonts, as well as many different sizes. You can see an example of the fonts on the right, and then the name of the font on the left. For mine, I would like to use a font called Helvetica. Once you click anywhere on your image, you will be able to type. You can change the color of your font by double-clicking it and selecting the colors on the toolbar options. And then, with my Move tool selected, I can move the font around my picture. If you double-click onto your font again and you get the Type tool options, you'll see that there, on the right, there is a T on top of an arc. This is for warping your text. When you click on the drop-down menu, you can see all the different ways that you can adjust the text for visual effect. I'm not going to warp my text, so I will cancel out of this menu. I do, however, want to turn my text so that it is vertical. And then I want to align that text onto this black bar in the middle of my picture. Another thing that you can do with your text is adjust the opacity so that it's not as noticeable and it blends in more with your photograph. When you select the text layer in your layers palette, you will see an option that says opacity, and you can try to set that lower and have it blend in more with your image. Now that we have added our Instagram handle to our button image, we need to make a new file that is 4x6 in size. We will do this by clicking on File, New Blank File, or Command N, and changing the file size to inches. Width will be 6, height will be 4, and resolution will be 300. We can make the name of this our name, and then the word buttons, and say OK. I've already started one of these templates, so I'm going to open up mine from the desktop. Now I will add my second button image by returning back to my button template file and selecting the 3 layers on the bottom of my layers palette. So I'm selecting the 3 layers, every layer except for the one that says do not print. And then I'm going to click on this top right icon and merge my layers, or say Command E. From here, I can select all and copy, and then Command V and paste my button image into my 4x6 file. Now I have an image file with 2 pictures that I am going to use to create my buttons.